We're live. We live. I just posted another post about it, and people are commenting. Go to the page and share it. Oops, sorry.
Hey guys.
I'm sharing this now.
We're gonna finally get this right.
Listen, technology's not perfect. Let me tell you that.
Technology sucks right now.
Hey guys, we are live.
We live, baby.
Can y'all hear us? Hey guys. Welcome. How y'all doing? Checking in. We are here live and we are so excited to be here. We're so excited to talk that talk with you guys today. If you guys don't know, I am your host, Christina Nelson of Talk That Talk, and my girls, Kyla and my girl, Crystal. Hey y'all, hey. We are here, and today we are talking about a very interesting topic that is going to, blow your mind all the way. So we're waiting for you to get your drinks. Comment below with the drink that you have,
Wait,
okay?
send it to me.
One.
This is Bartonora.
Bartonua.
Oh, that's how you say it?
Yeah.
Bartonora.
It's in a
Bartonua.
It's in a blue bottle. I
Yeah.
see
It's
that.
good. That's the point. All right.
Yes, we got the Bartonua on the track.
You got some of it you want mix?
No, I don't want to mix.
Please do.
So we're pouring our
This is
drinks.
new.
No more.
Thank you.
Comment below. Comment. Let us know what drink you have. What drink do you have? Let us know.
Oh, this is good.
What drink do you have? What
Ew.
drink do you have?
Don't have us drink.
We want to know.
Chelsea said, "Hey,
Hey, Chelsea.
hey, Chelsea,
Hey,
girl."
Chelsea. Like if this could be a real like nighttime talk show with a glass of wine, like oh my god, I think we have a great selection.
We sure do.
Yes.
Camera just showed me I got a big head.
Everybody's gonna see that. That's gonna be on live forever. YouTube, everything. They're gonna.
Nobody heard.
So they're gonna say, we definitely heard Kyla say that she has
A big head.
a big one.
I have a little.
Oh, Chelsea said she got her Moscato. Oh, she said this is her Moscato drink.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, sis. She knows what's up. Christina put me on. I'm not gonna act like I knew before now. But I didn't.
Yeah, you know you gotta put your girls on.
Well, you just started.
You gotta put your team on when it comes to the
you
drinks.
just started.
Hey y'all.
It's all good.
What
This
drink
is the
y'all-
wine expert. I got the liquor.
Yeah, I am. I can admit I am the wine lover. I can admit that.
I'm the liquor.
She put me on. I never liked liquor, but I can bump with some wine. I can bump with it.
Yeah, we definitely can. I can admit the wine is like the thing. Turn my volume down. All right. Can y'all hear us? We just want to make sure that you guys can hear us and we're all connected.
Yes.
Kyla, how was your week, girl?
Exhausting. I'm tired. Who told me I needed to work a 9 to 5 every day? Who? My bills.
Listen, we all got jobs. We all got jobs.
Yes.
We all have things to do, okay?
It's Friday Eve.
Friday
What
Eve.
is Friday Eve?
Yeah.
This is when you need, this is when you know you're an adult, when you have to actually be grown, okay? It's time for you to be grown and look forward to anything. So we call them Friday Eve. That's like people finding Wednesday celebration. It's hump day.
Yeah, you have to make the best of those little goals. Be like, I just gotta make it to Wednesday. I just gotta
One
make
more
it to
day.
Wednesday. Okay,
One more
now
day.
it's Wednesday.
It's
So now all I
Friday.
gotta do is make it to Thursday because that's Friday Eve. And now, Friday Eve is done. That means it's Friday.
Payday.
And then
Go
on the week.
home. Hello, weekend.
Yes, Friday is payday,
Yes, it is.
as you know. And that day means bills get paid. You don't get paid.
Yeah. You got somewhere to live. You got your lights on, the AC working.
Yeah.
You got some food at the crib.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Payday means you're a little less broke.
Your
than the day
phone's still
before.
on. Your Wi-Fi still works.
Yes.
You still got cable.
Yeah.
Your car is fully got
Oh.
gas. That's about it.
It's her birthday eve weekend. Okay, Chelsea.
Okay, Chelsea.
It
turn
is.
up.
I lost
Yeah.
track of the date, girl.
Bad friend.
Mm-hmm. So I get the text like, yo, you ready? Yep. Yep.
Well, I'm outside.
So guys, we are so excited. If you are now in, because I see we got so many viewers coming in, welcome to the Talk That Talk, okay? If you don't know, I am your host. I'm introducing again because we don't know who's in here now. We want you to know exactly who we are. So I am your host, Christina Nelson, and my co-host, my girls, my sisters, they're here. Say hey, Kyla.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
And Crystal.
Yeah.
So listen, if you missed the introduction, this is it because I ain't giving you. We're not giving you any more introductions at this point. You need to know who's who. Okay, you need to know who's who.
And if you don't
Get
know,
into it.
Now you know. Hey, all right.
Into it.
So let's talk that talk, y'all.
All right.
I want to propose a question right away, and it is. I'm starting right into it. I'm not wasting any time.
Get into
We're
it.
getting into it. And the first thing I want to talk about is the stigma in mental health. If you have not seen the screen, on the screen it says, what the mental health. So I got the title from just thinking, hey, we always say like what the health or what the heck, you know, something like that. So I'm like, the mental health. We need to know about mental health. We need to be aware about mental health and what it is that we're doing. So with that being said, I want to talk about the stigma with mental health in the Black community.
Mhm.
So I want to propose a question to you ladies. I want to see what are your views. And the question is, and I'm not only proposing to my girls here, but proposing it to you guys in the chat. Please comment below and let us know because we want to know what you think your answer to the question is. So here it is. This is our table question, our Talk That Talk table question. Are you aware of your mental health? And has there ever been a time that you have not been aware of your mental health?
Mm.
I am aware of my mental health.
So I'm going to answer the question first, okay?
I'm aware of
I
it.
might as well, I proposed the question, right? So I might as well be the first person to go. So from my personal experience, I think I have, if I could just really get personal, because ladies, we're going to get personal tonight. We're going to share some real deep things, and me personally, of course, and the girls here have the option to do the same, and you guys in the chat have the option to do the same, to share as much as you can on whatever that you feel comfortable with. And tonight, we're talking about some real serious things that helps to drop that veil that usually you hide behind. And not just you, but myself and so many other people that we're surrounded by daily go through that. So after giving you the talk, I just wanted to say that a year ago, last year around this time, I went through, and even the year before that. So it's crazy when you realize that you go through a season of depression.
Mm.
And for me, I started to realize that I went through these seasons of depression and I couldn't understand why I was going through it. But I finally got to the point where I became aware of it. And last year I did. I became aware of it because it was the lowest low I ever had in my life. I was so low that I thought about taking my life. It became a thought. And I think when you hit that point where you have the thought of not being in this world anymore, you have to actually fess up and say, something is wrong. It's time for me to propose the question to myself. And do I need help? Do I need help? How am I going to get the help? I can't just, because I think when you go through something like that, the first thing you want to do is isolate. And that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to hang out with anyone. I just wanted to isolate. And after I got to that point of isolating, I realized that it wasn't helping me. I was feeling worse. I had more thoughts of taking my life. So then I realized, okay, what exactly is making you feel this way? So how I became aware of my health, my mental health, I started to think about the things around me that contributed to my mental health. And the one thing that was affecting me was work. The second thing that was affecting me was my purpose. And the third thing that was affecting me was balance. I couldn't balance my life. I felt like I was having this misconception of purpose because I love my job, but it's not mine. Like what I was destined to do, what I was destined to be was to be an entrepreneur, to work for myself, right? And in the process, I was dreading going to my job because I couldn't see the light in my job anymore.
Yeah.
Like I loved what I did, but it just wasn't feeding me. It wasn't feeding my purpose. So it led to this place of depression. I was so depressed. And I'm not going to tell you how I root myself out of it yet, because that's something we're going to discuss later on. How do you root yourself out of your depression? But I want the girls to tell their part on how they became, if they ever been aware of their mental health.
No, you got it.
I've been aware of my mental health to the point where I've had strained relationships with certain people, especially family. And I had once at a very young age thought about taking my life, running away from home, and severely cry myself to sleep. And I would get migraines, puffy eyes, hyperventilate, the works. And I think for me, it came to a place of where I was feeling like the one person I wanted to love me the most, but I had to realize I have so many other people that love me and they could probably love me more than that person could probably show me. And I didn't understand until I got a little older as a chain of my family relatives of why that person was that way. And it was a cycle, and I chose to break that cycle. And I think that's what kind of helped me out with that. That was really taking a turn for the worse. I thought about even hurting myself, and thankfully I didn't have the strength to really even go forward with that, even when I got a little older. So
yeah. I felt that. I was like in a deep trance while you were talking.
Yes.
Yeah, that was just, I feel like a lot of us have like that moment in their life when they kind of have like an epiphany where they like come to terms with like, am I gonna do this to myself? Am I gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I worthy of existence? Which is like a really deep and dark topic, because of course you are. But to get to that place where you're like, am I though?
That
you know what
feeling of being unwanted is very, very real.
Yeah.
For some people, being unwanted is very real.
Yes.
And that's sometimes all most people really want, is just to feel needed, feel wanted.
And valued.
Yep.
Yes.
I agree.
For me, even when I was younger, I'm really like a hypersensitive, emotional person. And from when I was younger, even I was like really in tune with my emotions, but I'm really good at acting like I'm really, really, really good at acting like I'm okay. Really good at it. Because I just put other people before myself. So for a long time, it was easy for me to just ignore my own mental health, ignore my own mental state, whatever I was going through. It was real easy to just push it to the back of my head and focus on helping somebody else or being there for somebody else or being responsible for somebody else. It wasn't until honestly I was 17, I started going to therapy with my mother because we were working on our relationship, because I had basically left the house and went to my dad's house. And so we were working on our relationship as a mother-daughter, and I started to have sessions on my own. And my therapist was just like, you're depressed, right? And I'm like, girl, bye. Like, I'm not depressed. Like, anybody that knows me knows I'm always laughing. I'm always joking. I'm always, a ray of sunshine, if you will. So when she said, like, you're depressed, I was like, no, I'm not. Like, complete denial. Like, there's no way, shape, or form that I'm depressed. And she's like, no, you are. And I'm like, no, I'm sad at times, but I'm not depressed. And she really just started to read me like a whole book, like, and was just basically explaining to me that like it's really easy to ignore yourself, and for a lot of us, that's a way to cope. It's easy to act like you're not hurt if you just pretend it's not there.
Yeah.
It's not happening. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm not crying every day, so there's no way I could be depressed. But when she started to have me reflect on myself, I was really acknowledging like I wasn't really taking good care of myself.
Right.
I wasn't going above and beyond to feel good about myself or look good or do any of those things. I wasn't really hanging out a lot. Um, Honestly, and when I would speak about myself, it was almost always negative. Even if it was a joke, it was still like a joke at my own expense. So I started to acknowledge some of those things within myself and reflect within myself and say like, damn, like why am I doing that? Why am I the butt of my own jokes? Why am I the one that talks badly about myself first? And she basically explained to me like, because you didn't have that self-worth and value within yourself due to like years and years of just downing yourself, you kind of beat people to the punch. You get there before they can get there. And once I was able to come to terms with that and kind of reflect on that, um, I was able to acknowledge like, okay, there's something here. But I've noticed with your mental health, people fail to realize it's not just like this. Like it's not just either I'm depressed, or I'm not. It's really, for me at least, it's a roller coaster. It's up and downs and up and downs and up and downs. So I've had to acknowledge like the precursors. Okay, I'm noticing that I'm not wanting to get out of bed. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat, drink, or do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. Everything seems like a chore. I don't even want to leave the house, like unless I'm going to work. Like, and acknowledging those little precursors, like, okay, it's about to hit like a wildfire. Like it's about to come. It's about to come. It's about to come. You know. And now that I've got to that place in my life where I can kind of acknowledge, like, my depression is probably not going to ever leave. I think it's just something that I have to battle constantly. I have anxiety as well. So things I have to battle constantly, but I can understand those things. I can work against those things and I can do the things to better myself.
Yeah.
In that sense.
And I love that she said better herself, because a lot of times I realize that we actually don't figure out how to cope with our mental health. And you don't have to be diagnosed by a doctor to say, hey, I'm depressed.
Right.
You don't need that. But the thing is, being able to identify that you're depressed and being able to take the necessary steps to pull yourself out of that depression is really important.
It's huge.
And, you know, a lot of times I laugh because Kyla always says, girl, you got it so together. And I'm like, I really don't have it together. Like, I really don't. Like, I struggle with balancing so many things in my life. I struggle with like having the drive and feeling like, I don't know, that urgency of like life being it, you know, it's that emptiness. And you have to know how to keep those things. And oftentimes I love being by myself. When I do see myself going in a place of where I'm losing myself, I give myself pep talks, huge pep talks. And I journal. Kyla's thing is journal. When I met Kyla, I was like, girl, you are, I think like we met in a future life somewhere or sometime, because she's like, girl, I journal. And I'm like, I live by journaling because it helps me to identify my feelings. What is it that you're feeling? Why are you feeling this way? And kind of lay it out on paper so that it's clear for you.
Right.
And when it's clear for you, you know how to address it.
Yes.
I really think it's important. You get to figure out where that problem is coming from that's leading you to your depression. And then you know how to say, okay, this is the step I'm going to take to fix this problem. If it's therapy, it's therapy. If it's having more me time, if it's, because I'm going to be real with you. Women of Empowerment, we are about being self-care advocates. I take self-care is not just about going to get your nails done. Let me be clear. It's not about getting your nails done. It's not about like going to get your hair done. It's about wholeness. That's what self-care is about for women of empowerment. And that's why I push it so much. And I'm not fake about my self-care. I talk to y'all about self-care all the time. I'm like, girl, so when are you going to take care of you? Go buy yourself something. Yeah. How about you have some mental time for you?
All the time. She tells me this all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time. You're going to have to take a step back from everything, because if you're not good, everything is going to come crashing. And when things come crashing, right? It's like everything is, you're like, yo, can anything go right?
Story of my life.
Ladies, how many of you feel that way in the chat?
Like,
Like, feel
ooh.
like nothing's going right.
Being hit with a ton of bricks. Like,
Yes.
you can't do this. Why I gotta do everything?
Yes.
Like, well, I have to do it myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it just comes rushing. Like you get so
Yes.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like you're just like
The
everything's
whole
going wrong.
world
It
is
could be the
on your
littlest thing.
shoulders.
It could be the littlest thing. Like I have cried because my nail polish smudged when I was about to walk out the house. And it wasn't like, oh, look how petty it is. It's nail polish. It was just the last thing of that day that could have went wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like, what? My life's a joke. Why me? Why? But it's really just because I'm bottling up so many emotions from various aspects of my life and ignoring them.
Yeah.
So then this little nail polish smudging, which really is not that big of a deal, is the end all be all, end of the world. I'm about to die. I can't handle life right now. Type of thing.
I completely understand. So now we propose the question, and everyone have answered, and us ladies sitting here, we definitely have we have definitely clarified that we are aware of our mental health, and we're aware of the things that we felt and the experiences. And Kyla's gonna read really quick if anyone in the chat has ever experienced anything with mental health.
Waiting to see. So okay, well, Chelsea spoke about the fact that she has both depression and anxiety. She didn't go in depth, but if you would like to share, we definitely appreciate it. But I do notice, just going off of her comment at least, that a lot of times with mental health, it's like dual.
With anxiety?
Yes, like
okay.
There's usually a dualness. I'm trying to
duality.
Yes, like it's not just one thing. It's usually like a few things on top of each other that stack by. I feel like we have this really bad habit of thinking, "Oh, you're depressed. That is your thing."
Right.
Like it can't be like, okay, yeah, I was depressed for the last 3 weeks, but now I'm super anxious. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And those things can overlap on each other and lead to you feeling even worse about yourself, or less understood by others, or less able to get help. Because I know with depression and anxiety, at least from my experience, you're depressed, so you feel like the worst thing ever. You feel like, you're not worth nothing. Life just feels exhausting. You just have no energy for yourself or anything, right? But then anxiety, on the other hand, you overthink. Your brain is running. You can't stop. Oh my gosh, you're thinking of the worst case scenarios all at the same time. So you're sitting here depressed, like, I don't want to do nothing. Life's not worth it. And then your anxiety kicks in, like, okay, but what happens if you take your life? Your mom's not gonna have a daughter. Your siblings aren't gonna have a sister. Your kid's not gonna have a mom. And what's gonna happen? Now your kid's homeless because nobody's, you know what I mean? And your brain's like battling itself at the same time. It's hell, bro. Especially if you're so stigmatized that you're not willing to acknowledge these things. If you're so into that idea of it can't be me, not here, not me, no way, that you ignore these signs, ignore these problems, ignore this constant roller coaster that you're in, and feel like I'm too good for therapy. Therapy, people gonna think I'm crazy if I go to therapy, or if I acknowledge that I'm depressed, then people are gonna stamp me with that depression label, and that's just what it is.
Or think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And Kyla just had me over here like, girl, because I wanted to go into that. I wanted to go into the fact that this stigma around mental health, and part of the stigma is the labels, right? What you might be viewed as, how people might see you. Oh, she crazy, or even if you just go, I have a therapist. What? You have a therapist?
Yep.
You're talking to a stranger about your business? Really? You could figure that out at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the reality, we have no one to talk to. Who is going to mediate my life experiences and tell me that, hey, it's okay to feel the way you feel or go through what you go through? Right. You can go talk to a family member and they'll tell you life is tough. Suck it up. Move on.
Well, thank God for that. I ain't have those type of feelings.
You got it. I sure did. I sure did.
I did. Or you're being so dramatic. Life's not that hard.
Right.
Move on. Get over it. I did.
I think
I didn't have to go to therapy.
Right.
I think for me it was different because my grandmother, my uncles, like they saw it, so they knew why I felt the way I felt, and they were always hurt to like hear that tremor in my voice, as if like I wasn't gonna make it, like I would be gone. So thankfully, I had those type of relatives.
see. I had relatives that cared a lot. They saw what was going on, but I think their own preconceived notions of mental health and what it means to have mental health issues in any way, shape, or form, I think it played a role in it because we have these like this idea of what we see in the movies, like it's either you're crazy or you're normal. There's no in between. Either you're locked up in an institution and trying to kill yourself, or you're fine. So I feel like when they see you going to work every day, for me personally, I got straight A's. I always had a job. I got a scholarship for school. Like on paper, I was a successful kid. Like I did everything I was supposed to do. So there's no way Kyla feels anything but happy because
there's nothing wrong with her life.
Right. A depressed
Perfect.
Kid, a depressed kid doesn't get straight A's. A depressed kid doesn't go to school every day.
Right.
A depressed kid doesn't. When in reality, it's like, yeah, I was getting these things in spite of my depression, not like it wasn't like I didn't have those things. But I feel like it's easier to ignore it than to act like it's there, and that plays a big role. But I see a comment on the Instagram.
Yashika says sometimes she feels like she has with her mental health. She says she cries for no reason, small reasons, and that's the story of her life.
Been there.
I can been there too.
Yeah, I found myself in a place of doing those things, and we need to figure out where the wave of emotions come from. I keep saying you have to figure out the source, because the source is what really matters. Because we go day by day, and the emptiness, when you start to feel empty, I keep saying emptiness because I think emptiness is what leads to depression most of the times. And when you get there, numbness. That numbness to life, for me, and I'm gonna be real with y'all, last year when I was in that place, I was getting up watching myself live my life. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Like I was on the outside looking in, just like, what is going on?
Yes.
And just not feeling connected.
You dissociated.
Yeah. And that is actually a part of mental health.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. We're not making this stuff up. We're both people who have studied backgrounds in psychology and mental health. So we're not here to act like we're not speaking stuff that we don't know. Okay. But we're just trying to get personal with you guys. We're not out here to shoot a lecture on mental health, but to get personal about it and let you know that disconnect is real.
Yes.
Even your own therapist could be disconnected from the world and, sitting there with you, because we're human beings and we feel and we all hurt and we all bleed.
Yes.
So,
we're all humans.
Stop the stigma. Hashtag
stop the stigma, y'all. Stigma. So that's what we're doing tonight. Hashtag stop the stigma.
Facts.
Okay. So what is mental health? That's the question. Do we really know what is mental health? We talk about depression. We talk about bipolar disorder. We talk about all these different disorders, anxiety and schizophrenia, all this stuff. But what exactly is mental health? That's something we need to ask ourselves. I think we don't know what it is, and that's why there's a stigma around it.
Yes, I think people think it's either you have some sort of disorder or you're normal.
Right.
First of all, let's take away this word normal, because that's normal is stigmatizing in itself.
Yep.
Because if you
there is no normal.
Right. If you deviate from the norm, then automatically, which is actually one of the signs of a disorder of some sort mentally, is if you're deviating from the norm.
Right.
And if that deviation is affecting your day-to-day life in a negative way. Right. Think about all the deviations from the norm we got. I'm really not normal. But that doesn't make me bad. That doesn't make me terrible. That doesn't make me a bad person. That just means I deviate from the norm. But I think people fail to realize that the health of your mental state is so imperative. We all go to the doctor every year for a checkup for our body. We're supposed to. Some of us don't.
Right.
But we're supposed to, for a checkup of our body, make sure your blood pressure is good, cholesterol, sugar, all of that. But where's our mental checkup? Where's that checkup? This is what runs everything else. If this doesn't work, your body could be real healthy in a bed laying like this, while your brain doesn't do nothing else. But we don't check on it. We don't check in on our friends. We don't check in on our family members. We don't check in on ourselves. We don't say, hey, you look a little down today. What's wrong?
And when we do check in, right? Because I love that Kyle's hitting it on the nail tonight, y'all. When we check in, do not check in expecting I'm okay.
Facts.
A lot of times we go, oh, okay, something's wrong, and the person says, well, I'm okay. Well, they're gonna say okay, they're okay because they don't want to burden you.
Right.
There's many times I look at Kyle, I'm like, what's wrong? She go, I'm good. I'm like, girl, you know you can talk to me. I can talk to you. Like, please, just tell me what's going on. I'm here to listen. And that's another thing. When you go and you ask that friend, hey, and I think there's rules to approaching a friend, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's rules to approaching a friend. So when you approach your friend, I'm rolling up my sleeves and I'm like ready to fight. I'm like, let's really talk about this. Because when it comes to approaching a friend, right? The first thing you need to do is leave all of your pre-notions or preconception of anything, any judgments, leave that outside the door. Leave it out there and just come to your friend. Your friend is going to vent. Let them talk. You don't need to throw in opinions, anything like that. Sometimes, and this is my first thing. When I went to school for psychology and mental health, the first thing I did was, and we did like practice sessions of someone coming in to talk to you. The first thing they tell you is listen. You just have to learn how to be a listener. And I always pressure myself about that. I always say, I hope I'm a good listener. Like, I really, sometimes this person just doesn't need to know what I think about what, but they just want to tell you what is going on.
And be heard.
Yeah, that's it.
Be heard. And my words be valued when they come out my mouth. You might not agree with me.
Right.
You might think I'm wrong. You might be like, she's crazy. But
let it
come out.
Right.
Because a lot of times we don't let this out, which is why journaling is so important for me. And I recommend it to anybody with a pen and a piece of paper, or even you could use your notes on your phone.
Yeah.
It's so beneficial because it gives you a chance to let it out. Don't let it fester and marinate and
I agree.
Hold within yourself, because you start to carry that on your soul, and eventually it really does imprint certain things on you. This wall gets built. These feelings start to become a part of you, versus just how I'm feeling right now. I'm sad all the time. Now that's a personality trait. I'm considered sad. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that to be the case because you didn't get the chance to have the outlet to let something go. And I don't know if you wanted to touch on the
letting things go.
Yeah, I feel like you're the queen of letting.
I am the queen of letting things go.
That's why I was like, let me stop and pass the mic, because she's the queen of letting me know. Because I hold on to everything.
Listen,
it takes me a little minute. It depends on what you did or what you said.
I hold on.
I can hold on to some stuff,
but she's the queen of reminding me, like, you have to let some things go.
Yeah.
It took me 2 years to figure out I hold grudges, and I had never knew that.
Oh, I knew for a
I
fact
know I hold grudges.
Yeah. I didn't know I held grudges.
She said that we hold grudges all day. Okay. Listen.
Don't cross me. Because I won't forget.
I choose to love you from a distance and forgive you right now, but ooh, baby.
Right.
But you gotta forgive for you.
Yeah.
And that's why I always push it. Like, forgive for your health, for your mental health. You need to forgive. Listen, people piss me off on the regular.
Facts.
Really. I'm gonna be real with you. Piss me off on the regular, like certain situations, and I'm like, when I say let go, I used to go through things in my life as a child that used to fester. When I tell you I'm in college and it's festering in me, where I don't even believe in myself, like thinking that I wasn't meant to be in college because of things that I heard as a child, festering. And I was like, girl, why are you still holding on to this? It is killing you.
And it's hurting you.
Yeah.
Because the person that you're holding on to it from is chilling,
living their best life.
But it's hurting you.
Ain't worried about you.
It's so true.
Didn't call to check in.
It's so true. And you're carrying this weight on your shoulders, not able to be your best self.
Yes. Yep.
Because you're not willing to forgive. You're not forgiving for them. You're forgiving for you.
Yep. It's very true. We need to forgive for ourselves to be able to heal. And easier said than done.
Oh my God.
It really is.
I still don't know how to forgive. I'm telling y'all, but
Trust the process. Trust the process. And what I might do for myself personally might not work for you. But for me personally, what I do is I go back and I replay it in my head.
Yeah.
I try to see that person for who they are. I try to see why they were the way they are.
Yes.
Why they hurt me the way they did.
Yes.
And then I try to
hurt me the way they did.
and I try to understand it. Because I always say, like, based off of like childhood stuff that I went through with my family, I always say, if I knew what I knew now, oh my gosh, I would never hate them as much as I did.
Yes, because hurt people.
Yeah.
But it's, you don't get all the tea, especially in the Black community.
Yeah.
Because we are a lot, I'm be honest, I'm not gonna try to defamate us because we the shit, but we are a lot of hurt people.
Yeah.
We are a lot of hurt people.
Yes.
And hurt people hurt people. And it wasn't until I was grown and I'm learning things about people that really pained me. And I'm like, oh my God, you just needed a hug too. You didn't forgive them.
Right.
And now you channeled that into me.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to channel that. No, we got to stop it somewhere.
You know,
Because
Very
that's
true.
what
what's
happens.
so
Very true.
crazy? That one good little moment of comfort, that one good little hug, it just relieves you of like any type of pressure that you're
Yeah.
feeling. Like you can feel like you can take this weight and share it with
Yes.
somebody. Like
Yes.
they have understand or they hearing with you and they just trying to,
Yes.
help lift that off you.
And the floodgates open with me.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling something and I get some type of
You sit here and cry,
affection,
I'ma
a
cry
human
too.
connection,
She's telling me cry too.
Yeah.
No, for real. Be real.
and I'm finna ball.
It's like it empathize.
It's not gonna be a little thug tear. I'm gonna.
like if you cry,
That's how I
I'ma-
cry.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
how I
all
cry.
it takes. You ball her cry. I got some tears
Yes.
flowing.
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to share, I always share this. I'm a podcast lover, so I listen to podcasts all day.
Listen
And
to hers. Cultivate her.
yes, don't forget to listen to Cultivate Her.
Put that little
okay?
plug in. Sorry.
Thank you, thank you, girl. Because I wasn't even gonna plug. See, look at that. When you got good friends. Okay, so I wanted to share this podcast with you, and it's called Therapy for Black Girls. The podcaster is let me tell you her name because I don't want to mess it up. Because I don't want to mess it up.
I love the aesthetic of her page.
Oh yeah, her page is awesome. I've been listening to her. Obviously, you still need a licensed therapist, but she is a licensed therapist that shares a lot of things for Black girls, and I love that she caters I love that she caters to the Black community with this podcast. So it is called Therapy for Black Girls. She's on all platforms, every single platform you can think of. She's on there, and she's gonna blow your mind. I promise you. Her name is Joy Harden Bradford. Okay.
Sound like
Dr.
a doctor.
Joy Harden
Mhm.
Bradford. She's Atlanta
She
based.
sound like a doctor.
Yes, she's Atlanta based, and I need y'all to get on her podcast. I'm telling you, it will change your life. I love her podcast. Love it.
Now I gotta listen to it.
So this week she posted something that was really significant for me, and it's so funny because we were touching bases on mental health this week. So she talked about the struggles and how do you approach someone with mental health? What do you say to them? And she posted like some quick ones, and I just want to read them. It's like one says, "Hey sis, are you okay? You don't seem like yourself lately." That's one thing that you can say.
And I will start crying.
Right. Another one, "I won't ever judge you, and this won't change how I feel about you." These are just entry level things that you can say to a friend that you might think could be depressed and just need to reach out. And they just need to reach out. They just need one person because oftentimes they're crying for help. They're crying for help and they just don't know how to get the help.
Yes.
One last one is, "Maybe it's me, but I was wondering if you're okay."
I like that.
Yeah.
So simple.
Yeah.
Seems like you haven't been yourself lately. What's up?
Another good one is, "I'm here if you need me."
Yeah,
Yep.
Sometimes that's what somebody needs to hear,
that's it.
especially when they're feeling really alone and
I had
isolated.
2 of those today, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, someone thought about
And-
me."
And you don't even know how much of your mental health you carry right on your face.
Yeah.
You feel like you're covering it so good, but there's been so many times where people that I know me came up to me like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And I'm just like, "How you know?"
It's
Right.
funny
You thought you were
say
masking it.
that.
You thought you was masking it so good.
Right.
And it wasn't.
It's funny you say that because apparently when I shut up and I'm not laughing, I ain't giggling
me
around and
too.
smiling, apparently there's something wrong with me.
Me
I
too.
could be sitting here daydreaming like I'm good, like okay,
Me too.
I
there's
mean,
something wrong.
I mean,
we
I
have
feel like
outgoing
me.
personalities.
I was gonna say we all have rest and bitch face,
Yeah.
Oh
right?
yeah,
So that could be a factor.
But
I think mine's is
but
the worst.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah, hers is.
Mine's is the
But
worst.
Christina's is a solid second.
What?
Yeah. Christina looks like she's gonna fight you all the time. She don't be wanting to fight you though, but she looks like
I think I just be
not
looking like that
true.
person like, oh, you don't want to talk to her. She'll never smile. She don't. Nope.
I feel like my forehead says, "Come try me." So I don't think I have rest in bitch face because if I did,
She doesn't.
I'd be left alone.
Yeah, she's always giggly and bubbly. I'm more of like, don't want to be bothered with.
But then when you talk to her, she's a ray of sunshine.
Oh, thank you.
See?
Not for real. Once we get to know each other, but face value in the beginning.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
like,
come
oh,
on.
I don't
the
know
New
you like
Yorker-
that.
That's the New Yorker in her.
You already know. Take pride
You a
in it. What's up?
stranger. Don't talk to me, son. Don't talk to me, home.
Facts. Facts.
Did I sound like I was a New Yorker?
Yeah, you did a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's like, don't talk to me, son.
Don't talk
She
to
had
me,
to hit the
son.
talk right. You
On
know
that
what I'm
Like
saying?
that, like you're a New Yorker. I like that.
Yeah.
That
Word to my
R.
mother. Word to my. Oh, shut up. Shut up.
Listen, I'm representing all day. If you don't know, don't hate. I'm from Strong Island all day. What's up?
Oh, that's
516
cute.
all the
Strong
time.
Island. That's adorable.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all don't got nothing cool.
I
Like that from
represent.
Boston. Bean down. Oh, who wants to be from the bean?
I'll take that as
Nah,
pride.
I call it Boston.
B, 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 B.
I'm from the bean. You know what's the bean?
Not these now.
Boston baked
Yeah.
beans. Like,
Y'all know we had to lighten it up a little bit.
love
for a
it. It was
second.
getting a little dark. But let's take it a little darker. Go back into it.
Oh gosh, I love it. Crystal, where you from? The Lauderdale?
Hail to now.
Where you from?
Pampernell?
No, yeah. Shit. From the no. Pompano. Thank you.
The no. The
The
no,
no.
no.
No, the Pompano. Doesn't Pompano sound like Pompous? Pompano.
It might
Who says
be.
that?
It'd be a pompous
Florida
ass.
have weird names all
For real.
over. Like,
Kissing me.
I'm from Kissimmee,
I'm from Pensacola.
Pensacola.
Bro.
Okeechobee.
Right.
Hey, y'all don't get off Florida.
The
Don't
Keys.
Be getting in us. We got some
They
rich
named
ass
some place.
history.
The Keys.
It's weird. Oh, Florida.
Oh, I think nowhere's worse than either Tennessee or Georgia. I'm
Oh,
just
really?
saying.
See, I haven't traveled a lot.
Ooh, girl,
Well, I
you
haven't
go
been to
those
Tennessee.
places. Ooh,
Been to Georgia. I haven't been to Tennessee. You know.
Mm,
Ooh.
they got
But
some
one day-
I hate
names.
this question right here because I got a lot to say.
So, so now I just wanted to. We got off topic. Sorry, y'all, but we having
It's fine, got
fun.
to.
We gotta have some fun. We talking about
You
mental
gotta
health.
lighten
It's
up.
real serious.
And we got
Okay.
some wine here.
We're
So
gonna
Yes.
be talking about depression, but we don't want
Yes.
to be
Every
depressed
time we
talking
drink
about
wine,
depression.
every time we drink wine tonight, we are canceling the stigma.
stop the stigma.
Yep.
Take a sip.
I love it.
Ooh.
My glass is empty.
You want some more?
Sure.
Awesome. We're passing the wine. Passing the wine.
Elbow pop.
All right.
This
So-
is good.
I want to give you guys a definition of. I don't know why "so" is like my favorite transition word.
It's a good one. That's a good one.
So
Short, straight to the point.
yeah, you know it has to be.
It's a good one.
Mental health by definition:
Mm.
a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional being.
Emotional. You heard that.
Yes.
People forget that those are intertwined.
And we all have emotions, so mental health exists. If you ain't got no emotions, let me know. You might. Yeah.
If you have no emotions, you should get out the chat. We're
Yes.
serious. No. I'm not gonna shame sociopaths. Y'all are cool. Not all of y'all are killers.
Say,
Some of y'all, no.
It's not all.
That's a stigma. That's a stigma. Just because someone's a sociopath,
No. I wanted you to finish where you was touching base.
I'ma tell
I
you.
was about to be like,
just because someone. So we hear serial killers. Okay, not all serial killers are probably sociopaths, but not all sociopaths are serial killers. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
So there's a stigma there. If someone is diagnosed with sociopathology, then they're treated like you must be a serial killer. That just means that you have completely dissociated from your emotions and don't know how to touch them.
So they can them things turned.
And a
off.
lot of people that have some of these disorders are based in trauma, and I think we don't talk about
Oh, we don't.
So let's talk about it.
that.
Is mental health discussed in the Black community?
No.
Do we talk about it? Do we get to the point about it?
We do.
Have our parents
No.
and our grandparents
Nope.
and our great grands and our ancestors talked about mental health?
No, not to me.
I mean,
not my family.
Me and my mom been to a therapist before, but
Me too.
mental health was never really a discussion in the household.
No,
I have
me
not
neither.
ever went to a therapist with my family, but we don't discuss mental health. We haven't discussed it ever.
Yeah, I've never had anybody like have a mental health check. I've always been told I was dramatic if I was going through anything
Right.
emotionally or mentally,
Yeah.
and they were aware of it. It was always, oh, drama queen Kyla, she's being dramatic.
I've been dubbed as being dramatic.
Yep.
And I needed an attitude
But
adjustment.
I feel like that comes from the fact that, and this is just my opinion, but as a community, the Black community has gone through so much. Every person that you have around you has some sort of story of some sort of trauma they've dealt with.
yeah.
And so when you're sitting here crying over your trauma, which to them might be lesser than theirs, it's like, what's she crying for? Ain't nobody help me. Ain't nobody take me to a therapist. No one hugged me.
Right.
No one, coddled me. I had to suck up my tears and keep it pushing. So there's this hard exterior that we all have. Like, I'm weak if I have anything other than normal feelings, I guess.
Right.
The word.
I want to know because I feel like our generation is woke, right? So I would assume that the millennials, because you're a millennial, right? You're a millennial too, or you are the Gen?
Oh, I'm millennial.
I think that makes me Gen X.
Are you Gen X? I thought 2000 and down is Gen X.
Well, then I'm a millennial then.
Yeah, you're a millennial. So as millennials, millennials and Gen X. Is it Gen X? I always say
Gen X.
I always say Gen Z. Don't know why. Because I'm like, why X? Why?
I think Gen Z is a show or a character of some sort.
It was a movie.
Oh, my bad.
See, there
Maybe that's why I kept saying it.
Maybe.
But now I'm gonna say Gen Z all over. So now that I just wonder, as millennials and Gen X's,
right,
are we woke enough about our mental health? Because I mean, a lot of us have babies these days. Are we raising our children to talk about our mental health? Do we believe that even now? I'm just thinking about COVID and what our kids could be experiencing. Are we taking our kids to therapy? Are we talking to our kids about what's going on?
I think
has the therapy stopped?
Right. I think we have to. I'm gonna be honest, because the step in the right direction for one is awareness. We're aware of the fact that we were not treated. We were not consoled in that way. We didn't talk about mental health, right?
Right.
So awareness is the first one, but we actually have to actively work against it because we learn through modeled behavior. So I learned how to be a mother by watching my mother and watching her mother and my aunts be mothers. And not to say that any of them were bad mothers, because they weren't. But there's things that I learned from watching them that I'm like, I don't want to do that to me. I mean, I don't want to do that to my kid. I know how it hurt me. And it's my responsibility to make sure I don't do that again. So for me, my kid's only 2.5, but she's super emotional like her mother and father. So I try to get her to verbalize her emotions. Instead of just her crying and me going, oh, come give me a hug, baby. Oh, you're crying. Let's get over it. I try to say, what's wrong? Use your words. Tell me what's wrong with you. I need to know so I can help you. And then I just listen, even though sometimes I'm like, what is she really crying for? But to a 2.5-year-old, her favorite toy falling and breaking is the end of the world.
Right.
So to me, it ain't nothing. But I don't want her to ever feel like I'm dismissing her feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like that's part of the stigma in the Black community, dismissing feelings and telling your kids and your family members that you're just being dramatic or you're just overdoing it. And this is just a part of life. People get hurt. Sometimes life just rubs you wrong, too bad.
Yep.
And we have to actually express our feelings even right now in this pandemic. It's not over. People are really affected by this. Our children are affected by it.
They're isolated.
Yeah, they're isolated. Oh my gosh. I'm not trying to go on and on about it, but there are people who are in domestic relationships who are stuck at home.
Yep.
There are children who are in abusive relationships with their parents who are stuck at home.
A lot of kids have committed suicide since.
The numbers have increased so much. And it's just something for us to pay attention to.
Yeah. A lot of people, their only happiness comes from outside the home.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes. I'm not going to lie. When I was younger and I was in school was my scapegoat. I loved being at school.
Me too.
I was just trying to get out of the house.
I want to be home.
Yeah.
I was that first kid. I was there early. Okay. I need to get out of the house to get away from it. And I was in every extracurricular activity. So that when I come home, all I had to do is shower and go to bed.
Yep.
Don't want to be involved with it, with anyone or anything, just to stay out of anyone's hair and, But when I look back, I realized that there's a possibility that my grandmother could have had bipolar disorder. Maybe my great-great-grands. Like when I look back and you see like the lashing and I'm like, maybe
the highs and the lows, the manics and the
yeah. It's possible.
My mom, she's not watching right now, so I can say this. I'm so serious. It wasn't until I went to school for psychology and was taking classes and understanding
Same here.
that I was like, hold on, this sounds way too familiar. I even was looking at myself.
Yeah.
I've come to terms with it, and it's something that wasn't easy, but I had to tell myself not too long ago because I was getting so emotionally distraught all the time, and I was like, I think I need help. I think this isn't normal.
Yeah.
This isn't regular. I shouldn't feel like I go from feeling like I'm at the top of the world, and the next day I feel like I'm at the bottom of somebody's shoe.
Yeah.
Like it's really dramatic, like this. Not saying that I can't diagnose myself with anything, but I'm just like, okay, I'm at least my emotions are everywhere. Why is that? How do
Right.
I get control of those things? Sometimes you go to therapy just to get clarity. How do I control my emotions? Give me the tools to work on understanding myself and my emotions.
Yeah.
Therapy doesn't necessarily mean I'm having a psychotic break. I just might need somebody to talk to and to give me the tools to be the person I
Right.
want to be.
Yes.
Mhm.
Give you the tools to be the person that you want to be. I love that. Because it's all about excelling and taking on day by day tasks and
Yeah.
coping. Coping is
Yes.
important.
Coping.
How do I deal with the stresses of work? How do I deal with the stresses of financially providing for my family? How do I deal with the stresses of holding down all these different roles of me being a mother, a employee, a
Mhm.
wife, you know, all these different
Mhm.
things.
business owner?
A business owner. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna talk about
Because
that.
you're a
Like,
business owner.
jeez, the stress of
Yeah.
it all like is insane.
Even being a daughter is stressful. A sibling
Yes.
is stressful. All these different hats that we wear, they
Yeah.
all come with their own stresses, their own rules, their own
Yes.
regulations, their own things guidelines you have to adhere to. And
Yeah.
you're trying to fit all these guidelines at the same time, not to mention social media, which is watching us all the time.
Yep. Constantly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now I have to also put up a front. Because
Yep.
nobody wants to see me crying on my page. They want to see me happy drinking mimosas at brunch with my friends. So that's what I'm going to post, not knowing I had a mental breakdown before I went to
Oh.
brunch with my friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yes. So I love that she said that. We don't want to put up fronts, okay? Kyla said we ain't got time for fronts, okay?
take that mask off. Mask off. Throw it out. Don't put it back on. No.
Hey.
Oh, fuck it. No.
Well, wear your mask when you go outside. Do the
Yeah.
coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's COVID. You wear it
don't take your mask off
outside.
for that.
I don't want
support
nobody
that.
getting no fine.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
support. Don't go into
We
Walmart with
can't
no mask
help
on. Because if you walk past me and I'm with my baby and you got no mask on, it's gonna be me and you.
She said it's fight.
Me and
It's
you.
on site.
Period.
So I wanted to
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, we have some new viewers tuning in. Hey, friend. My friend Breon says, hi, lady.
Hello.
He's the guy that did the video for the.
Yes.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh, also, she could give us some clarification
Yes.
on millennials. She said, Generation. It is Generation Z.
Oh,
Generation Z is from 1995 to 2015,
okay.
and millennials is like the 80s till 96 or 95.
Okay.
So
So technically you're a Gen.
You're a Gen.
Okay.
Technically.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
My bad. I'm
tried
not
to
a
fit you in,
Gen.
sis. We was trying to fit
We
you
not
in.
Gens.
So going off of stigma and mental health in the Black community,
Yes.
can I give some history for a minute?
Yes. Before you give your history,
Okay.
I wanted to ask everyone, where do you think the stigma exists?
Like
I
what?
think
So
like what
it's
structures
where
in the
where
community?
does yes, what structures in the
stereotype.
community? Where do you think the stigma originates? For me personally, from what I've seen, I think the stigma definitely starts within the household.
Yeah.
And for me personally, the church. Yeah.
Mm.
What you guys think?
I agree. In the household, and also, just wanting to put up that front like you don't need help in the sight of others.
Okay. I agree. That is a stigma. So the stigma
Yes.
is putting on the facade,
Yes,
like
yeah.
and like a sense of shame.
Yes.
Right?
I think the household for sure, but I also think media plays a huge role in the stigma.
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
love
media plays
that.
a huge role because even before social media, there was always some sort of media, newspapers,
Mhm.
ads, articles,
Right.
propaganda, all of these different things. And I feel like for a long time, I mean, mental health is just making its strides in the last 50 years.
I would say definitely, because when I tell you, when I wanted to go to school for mental health counseling, at the time when I was going into the field, they were like, that major just started. It don't even like when I was working at a school for kids with disabilities and going to school full time. And in the process of me doing it, the owner of the company, he said to me, that's just a developing major. Why you would even want to get into that? Nobody's doing that. Nobody's
Look
doing
at it
mental
now.
health counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's true though. It
has
it's
flourished.
making
since
its strides because for a long time people would be like, she's acting crazy, put her in a mental asylum.
then. Yeah.
And when I say she, I
Yeah.
said she for a reason because a lot of women were put
Yes.
in mental asylums just for speaking out,
Right.
just for having an opinion, for saying I don't want to have kids.
Mhm.
When
for-
most of these serial killers are men and they're not thrown into asylum.
Let's
Just
talk about it.
saying. Just saying.
Let's talk about
So Kyla gonna give some history
it. Okay.
on why mental health is a stigma in the Black community.
Let's talk about it.
So let's get on it.
So mental health is in the medical field. It would be doing it a disservice to not include it into the medical field. It's for you. And if we go back in history, medicine and the medical field in America hasn't really supported the Black community, unfortunately.
Right.
We've been treated more as guinea pigs, as experimental factors. A lot of the strides that we have in the medical world and the mental health world today is based off of experiments and tests and studies done on Black populations, because they were looked at as lesser people. It was more ethical to these scientists or these doctors at the time that were doing these experiments to say, okay, let's just test it on the Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it goes wrong, okay, we learn for the future, but they're the Black people, so who cares, right? So that's how it was treated. And there's various studies to support this. Like, for example, the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. A lot of people don't know about it, surprisingly, but it was an experiment that involved 600 Black men, and they had syphilis, right?
Yep.
And for one, most of them were not told about their diagnosis. They were told that they were in the study for various other reasons. Most of them didn't get treatment, so then they ended up spreading syphilis to their wives and their children and future families. And we're literally just going through the pain of this disease, because if a lot of people don't know, if you have syphilis, it's extremely debilitating. It's extremely painful if it's not treated. And this study ended up eroding a lot of the trust that was had between Black people in the medical world, because I feel like we just have this unspoken trust. Oh, you're a doctor? Everything you say must be true, and it must be my best interest. A lot of us do that, and unfortunately, as a Black person inside of the medical field or the mental health field, you kind of have to have this wall up, because you're not sure if they have your best interest. You're not sure where they sit on that line. Are they supportive of all people? Do they pick and choose? Are they only willing to see you just because they did this oath and they have to, or is it because they really genuinely want to help you? So that's one example. Another example is the fact that the father of modern gynecology, James Marion Sims, right? Because of him, a lot of information is out today regarding the reproductive organs in the woman, right? There's statues in various places about him. Oh my gosh, he's the bomb. We wouldn't have known. He did a majority of experiments on Black women, slaves at the time. But I don't like to say slaves, enslaved people, because they were people. And they were thought of as, because they were Black, they had a higher tolerance for pain. So none of them got any anesthesia when getting these surgeries. And a lot of these surgeries were into the uterus or into the vaginal area. And there was literally no medicine given. Even in his notes, he talked about how the woman was screaming in agony throughout the whole surgery. And so these women, these women sacrificed and, basically were sterilized and gave up, certain aspects of themselves. And because of those sacrifices, here we are now. And you would think we'd be in a better place in the medical world, but yet Black women are 3 times as likely to die during childbirth in 2020 in the free world. Does that make any sense? Why is that? It goes back to that idea of we can tolerate more pain. If I'm complaining, it must not be that big of a deal, because she could deal with it. If she's complaining, then she just must be being an angry Black woman, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. She must just be complaining. She just wants to make an issue. She's just a welfare queen. She don't want to go home. That's why she's making an issue. And there's just all this, and all of that is stigma, right? That's all that is on top of each other, piling, and eventually there's this disconnect between us and the field of people that are supposed to help us. So now we start to become self-sufficient. Now we feel like we should only help our own. Now we feel like we should only help ourselves. If I'm feeling like my leg hurts and it's killing me, I'm not going to go to the doctor. I'm going to try every holistic method I could think of first. And then if I have to go to the doctor because my leg's about to fall off, then I'm going to go. So it becomes the last resort versus the first resort, which is why so many Black people, Black children, Black women, Black men don't usually get mental health help until they're at the last leg, until they're this close from ending their life.
Until too late almost.
Until it's the end. And it's because for so long we have this distrust there. And it's just like, how can I trust you with my innermost feelings and emotions and mental state and family history and trauma and things I don't trust my closest friends with, when I don't know if you got me the way I got you? And unfortunately, unfortunately, the mental health field is just now opening up to more and more Black therapists and Black doctors,
Yes.
and that in itself is a superpower, because
Yeah.
I always say, like, honestly, if I'm getting a therapist, this might sound bad, but I prefer her to be Black and I prefer her to be a woman, because I feel like that's the only way she's gonna fully understand my position
Yes.
in this
Yeah,
world.
I agree.
Not
I
to
agree.
say that other therapists don't do the damn thing, because I'm sure they do, but I feel like there needs to be some factors that we have in common for us to be able to understand, but that derives from that lack of trust that has been built. And unfortunately, even though these experiments happened hundreds of years ago, I mean, at least the reproductive ones did. The Tuskegee experiment wasn't hundreds of years ago, unfortunately. But it just goes back to the fact that Black women have had historically the highest rates of mortality during childbirth. And it's really just a combination of institutionalized racism, a healthcare system that wasn't really meant to support us, um, and the fact that we're taught so much to have a quiet mouth, because when we do open our mouth, we're angry, we're pissed off, we're mean, we're bad people, all these stigmas that we have to carry on us as Black people. So that was my little history lesson.
Go ahead, girl, educate.
Right.
Because I've heard of the Tuskegee experiment since I went to a HBCU.
Dang it, locked. Forget it.
And we learned about a lot of those things. But the one about the women, I had no idea. I've never heard of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it. So from what I've seen, some of the barriers here that I found on the psych website, and let me make sure I be clear, the mental health disparities of African Americans, okay? And it's on the American Psychiatric Association. So, according to the American Psychiatric Association, the barriers to care for mental health services for African Americans is the stigma associated with mental health. That is the first one listed, by the way. The second one is the distrust of the healthcare system, which is what colleges touch base with. The third one is the lack of providers from diverse racial, ethnic backgrounds, which is also what Carla hit on the nail, because she stated she'd rather have someone that she can definitely identify with, who can understand what position she's coming from. And the lack of culturally competent providers, and the lack of insurance and underinsured. So that is just something for us to think about. And I just wanted to plant that right there for y'all real quick. You know what I'm saying? But I love the fact that Kyla went into the history, because history is always important. That's something that we need to know. And she might have loaded it on y'all, but if you need to look it up.
And knowledge is power.
Yes. I mean, look into these people.
Knowledge
James
is
Marion
power.
Sims.
Yes.
Literally just Google his name and you will find out about his experiment. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment. That's another thing. Black mortality rates. You could just look into all of these different things and just educate yourself as much as possible. I mean, obviously everything you see online isn't necessarily true. Pay attention to your sources, like she spoke on American Psychology, Association, whatever the case. You got to pay attention to the sources you're getting them from, because that plays a big role in the information you're getting. You don't want to get skewed information.
Yes, you definitely don't want that to happen. I also want to read that about 25% of African Americans live below the poverty level, compared to about 10.8% of non-Hispanic and whites. So the reason why they talked about the population and the income is that some people have the lack of access to mental health providers, and that is a factor as to why some people don't go out to get help and think that is something that they can handle at home. But there are resources, and if you guys check the link I tagged to this video, there's a link to find local psychiatric doctors that are available for you, that are affordable, that you can find in your community. You can just put in your zip code and they'll pop up the ones that you can find in your area. So we definitely want to also push the resources, because it's about being resourceful, right? And we want to help people, because that's what we do.
Yes.
In the process of us helping ourselves, we are helping people.
Yes.
So
Always.
Yeah, always, right?
Always.
So with that being said, we definitely want to stop the stigma.
Yes. And how do you stop stigma?
That was my next question.
How do you stop it, sis?
So what are some ways for us to stop the stigma? Can we name
Talk about it.
Some ways. And we're going to name some ways and we're going to cheers to stopping the stigma tonight.
Yes.
Okay?
I think
Start with Crystal.
one would definitely needing to be acknowledging when you need help and others also acknowledging when that person needs help.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree with you 100%, Crystal.
Yes.
I agree. Kyla?
We have to stop with the negative names that are paired with stigma, like crazy, angry,
Mhm.
So we need to
Psychotic.
like the labels.
Yeah,
So
all the
labels.
labels.
labeling.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Just because someone's going to therapy, just because someone's depressed, just because that doesn't make them crazy, that doesn't make them less worthy of love, that doesn't make them angry, that doesn't make, we can't label people because that's already a preconceived notion. It's already a
Right.
judgment.
Yes.
You know, so once I call you crazy, that means that I'm taking away the validation of your feelings.
Mhm.
Because it's not because you really feel that way, it's because you're crazy.
Right. I think that for I know. This might be a lot, but and I know letting go is hard, but we have to let go of the distrust of doctors.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's tough, but I
Mhm.
feel like that's the start right there. Once we let go of that distrust, because you can always dabble around to find what doctors work for you. You don't
Very
have to
true.
stick with the same psychiatrist. You can always dabble around. And usually if you have a friend that knows a really good psychiatrist, trust me,
Yeah.
they'll tell you like, okay, this is a real good one. Go to that one. And she gonna be real with you.
Yeah.
And she was black,
Yeah.
so
Speak about it.
I have a therapist. She is black, and she is also she is black. She's Christian, so it works for me personally.
Yeah.
So I she aligns with my values. So I know she's gonna understand me where I'm coming from, and she's really real down to earth. So I like that, So I like to send the information if everyone, and I refer her to everyone. That's how I am. So you never know who might be talking to a therapist. You should spread the word like, hey, I need a therapist.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yep. And I think another important thing is flood the career paths.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to step into that realm because somebody told you, like she was told, oh, that's not why you're doing that.
Right.
And I'm sure, I was told when I was still taking social psychology, why is that your major? You're not about to make no money.
Right.
Psychology. What's psychology? Psychology is how we work in here.
Surely
And
is.
all of us need to understand how we work in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like don't allow people to make you feel like it's not important, because it's so important.
It is.
And the more people that look like us in that community of careers, the more people that are diverse in that community is the more people that can be that can identify with.
Yes. The more people that can identify with, and the more people that will help break those barriers.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
I think that's something we need to do more of, encourage and letting know seeking help is not a problem.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay to ask for help.
It's okay.
You can't be self-sufficient all the time.
We need to push it like we push birth control.
Okay.
Push mental health like how we push birth control
This
and
is
condoms.
the thing, though, and I've heard a lot of people say this. It's one thing to talk to your family and friends, but it's something about talking to a person that don't know you from a can of paint, and they can sit here and just read you like a book, like you said earlier, and be like straight up upfront with you, like they have no reason to lie to you, they don't know you, and they can just be completely honest.
And they let you know you're not crazy.
Exactly.
They let you know that these feelings make sense.
You're not crazy, you're human.
Right. And they also let you know other people feel this way.
Right.
I've seen this before. This is documented in a book. This means this. Like, it just puts validation to these feelings that you probably didn't even understand. But you're like, wow, okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not just making this up. I'm not just creating this in my head. I really feel this way. And I have a reason to.
Yeah. Definitely, we can no longer put down mental health and seeking help. We need to put down the stigma. Definitely.
Yes.
Stop the stigma.
We are toasting to stopping the stigma tonight. You put something in your cup, girl.
Can I see the one?
You're gonna have to pour that one. Pour that one.
This one?
Yeah. Can you reach it?
I got little arms. I got it.
All right. So we are stopping the stigma.
Yes.
All right. Cheers with us to stopping the stigma, guys. And we thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. And listen, we love that you guys are here. Don't forget to check us out every Thursday. Okay. But we got 2 more Thursdays to go, actually.
Ooh.
2 more Thursdays to go.
Really?
Our
I feel
last
like it was
week
more.
is the second week of August. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, 2 more weeks to go. We already did 3 weeks to talk that talk.
That flew by.
It did fly by. We have 2 more weeks to go, and that's that.
My birthday weekend? Is that my birthday week?
Yes,
2 weeks.
it is that week. It is that week. That's our last
The
week.
27th coming.
Crystal's birthday is gonna be here, so we're ready. Oh, you know what's crazy? Wait, put your glasses down. I forgot. We didn't get the chance to hit Tamar. We're supposed to talk about Tamar.
Wow.
And we did not. So
that's what brought this whole conversation
yes,
up.
that's exactly what brought our conversation up. And we're gonna cheers to Self and the Stigma, and we're also gonna cheers to not just Tamar's health, but also Kanye's health. And a lot of these celebrities are going through mental health. It's not about money. We think that money makes us happy, but if you're not right, as Kala said, if you're not right here, your here is your everything. If you're not right there, you're not good anywhere.
Just be depressed in a $50 million house.
And something that Tamar said tonight, I mean, not tonight, but she said it. That tweet that she sent out about feeling like a slave to the industry. Nothing's her own. Her life is not her own. Her music's not her own. Everything is invaded on. And a lot of times, the first question I asked myself was, how many of us feel like our life is on our own? That the social issues that we face daily, we are slaves. And listen, I want to let you guys know tonight. I wish I can hit a button so the camera could zoom in on me. But I want to let you guys know you are not a slave to anything. And that's the first thing I tell myself. I tell myself that every day. I'm a slave to no one and nothing. If tomorrow I am so unhappy, because I used to be in a place where I was so unhappy with a job and I kept staying there, and I was depressed and aging. I quit. I was drinking every day at that job, and I quit. I said, this is not worth it. No. Quit.
Not at all.
My happiness is way more
So
important.
don't think about the money and, I can't pay a bill. Let me tell y'all, God is going to provide. And I truly believe that something will happen for you, because your health, if you're not here and you're not good, you can't work at no job. You can't take care of nobody. You can't take care of yourself. Right. So with that being said, Tamar, this is for you, girl, because you are a queen and you've been strong, and you're going to continue to be strong even through this. And I hope that after this, that you can talk through it to lift our Black community, to show that mental health exists, and that you can have mental health issues,
and that is serious.
Yes, and you can overcome it, and you can cope with it. So to Tamar, to Kanye, there's another one.
Recently?
Yes, you were telling me about someone else.
Oh, I was talking about Kid Cudi, but he wasn't recent.
Kid Cudi. Yeah, but Kid Cudi.
He has a lot of
it's here. So we're toasting up to these people, even the ones that has taken their lives due to mental health issues. We're toasting up to you guys, and we plan, Women of Empowerment, we plan on doing everything possible to end the stigma. This is our plan. We're not just talking about it tonight. We're actually going to be about it. All right. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
All right. Stop the stigma. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was awesome. Don't forget to come in next week. We're talking about that talk. Follow us at WOEINC on Instagram and on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. And guess what? See y'all next week.
Bye. Good night. Bye.